Leo, welcome to your end of May 2017 general tarot reading. It's Raina here. As you can see, I've laid out the cards. I wanted to just start over. So before I begin, I just wanted to let you know that in addition to these cards, I'm also going to be picking a card from the Sandra and Taylor Oracle deck, and just to change things up a little bit. I've been having fun using it. It's just been collecting dust, and it's a shame because it's beautiful, and the guidance seems to be right on track, at least right now. So maybe, you know, timing is everything. And I also wanted to let you know that I do love readings by themselves, and those will be up by mid-month, I'm thinking. So you can look on my channel for that. The overall theme of this is the Nine of Swords. This can indicate some kind of anxiety that has developed for whatever reason. Typically, now you see that this particular artist, this is the Morgan Greer deck, they depict the person having their hands tied. And it's really, to me, a little bit confusing from the standpoint of what the Eight of Swords represents, which is a similar theme. This, according to Pamela Coleman and her design in the Rider-Waite deck, which is the classic deck, she has a woman sitting up at night with her head in her hands, like she's full of anxiety, insomnia. And so it depicts anxiety rather than that sense of oppression which comes when you feel like you can't do anything. And so I don't know, it sounds to me like they're trying to make this like a person feels oppressed in some way. But what we can say is that anxiety comes about from thinking. You can't have anxiety without thinking particular thoughts. And so those thoughts that you're thinking are represented by the swords. And it's a pessimism. It's a dire kind of what if scenario, which may not come to pass. And yet a person is very, you know, into this awfulizing a situation. This could also be a fellow, I was going to say, why would I say a fellow swords? You're represented by wands, not swords. Leo, you're a fire sign. But I was going to say an air sign individual could be represented by this particular focus, a theme at the end of May. So this would be a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. Aquarius is your opposite sign, and sometimes that polar opposite magnetizes you to that person. But because it's the Nine of Swords, I would think that this person may have a negative influence on you in some way. In the past position, we have the Justice card. Interestingly, the Justice card represents Libra. Libra is an air sign, hence a swords. So maybe it is a Libran individual who's causing problems. This can just be literally some kind of legal matter. It could be a divorce proceeding, but it could also be in terms of, let me see here. It could be like any kind of a court case that has, maybe it's a custody case for a child custody case. Maybe it has to do with just a lawsuit in general, that with a job or anything, and you're anxious about it. Well, I think you're going to be good, because this is a card of emerging victorious. But it's a card where you have to really, you know, concentrate, and you can't allow for any distractions. So what it may be suggesting, Leo, is that with the The Nine of Swords representing anxiety, you may have to simply shut off all kinds of distractions in order to marshal your forces to be able to emerge victorious, as this card suggests. And if you see, the person is holding on to the rein of the horse. So that to me is thoughts and being able to control your thoughts and not allow them to control you. Now, interestingly, and I didn't notice this before, you notice that this person has a crown. So this is like somebody who is royalty. And I associate Leo with royalty, even though this card is connected to Cancer. So it's possible that a Cancer person may be in your life now, and maybe you were with a Libra person in the past. And that person brought you a lot of anxiety. Maybe you are in love with a Cancer person and you feel trapped in a loveless marriage. The higher perspective, or the spiritual message in this, is the Eight of Wands. I think that something, it might be saying like, don't worry, something's going to happen maybe that has to do with things happening all of a sudden. Like things might have been at a standstill and you might have been very anxious because you were feeling trapped, and then all of a sudden you have a breakthrough and everything just starts happening. I've been telling the other signs, you know, we've had these retrogrades, and the one that we just got over is Mercury retrograde. And so even in matters of the hearts, just having a communication delay can cause all kinds of misunderstandings, or if you're trying to make plans, they can be kind of kept from happening. And then all of a sudden you're like back and forth. Okay, what do we do? Da 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 da. Because this is Wands, there is a sense of forward movement, a sense of enthusiasm, a sense of like, it's like you're springing back to life, Leo. And maybe you felt like this sense of hopelessness at some point, and it really was just a matter of time. You know, everyone goes through hills and valleys, and this is really something where you have to kind of be flexible, and you know, you are fixed sign, so don't allow yourself to get stuck on any past situation that was maybe unpleasant. Allow yourself to move into whatever happens, especially if it's fast moving. Don't hesitate, don't delay in moving on with your life, okay? If something comes about that isn't directly related to something that you initiated, still open yourself up to that so that you can take advantage of breaking free from the chains that bind you. What is, I think that crosses you is the Two of Wands, and this kind of goes along with what I'm saying. If there is a choice that needs to be made, don't be afraid to make a choice. You see the person is holding the world in their hands. This means that you may be choosing even relocation, and that card may be about some kind of career matter where you might be getting a job somewhere else in the world. And I've been getting a similar card for like Two of Pentacles I was getting for a number of signs, which is kind of similar. But this is, because this is Wands, the focus is more on advancement, I think, or even autonomy in some regards, where the Wands represent freedom. And so whatever is happening, it's not necessarily that money is the prime motivator for you. It may be more of a situation where you want to get away from an area that you're living right now because you don't want to deal with the energy of the familiar anymore. You want that sense of expansiveness that comes from being somewhere else. And that would be what actually is the lure to you, not any kind of advancement or money. And the other thing too is, but you still may, I should say, but you still may have a sense of indecision because, or reluctance to change because maybe you have children, maybe you have family and you don't want to leave. So there could be one of those kinds of things. In relationships, you may feel like a sense of loyalty to a partner, even if you're not getting along, even if the love is gone. And that may be hard for you to choose. When you get to number 2, it can be about duality and ambivalence sometimes. The advice is the King of Swords. That sometimes this can be in the near future, so this could be a person. If this is a boss, it could represent somebody who's very intelligent, but not necessarily very warm and fuzzy. Maybe somebody who's kind of a little bit remote. But it can also, again, be dealing with a judge or a legal, like a court situation where a judge is making a decision. It can be a facet of you where it's asking you to take the emotion out of it and just look at it logically. Look at your situation as it is and see, does this serve me? Being in a situation possibly with someone who doesn't do it for me, or even it could be a job where it's like maybe you feel loyal to your boss or to your company and it just doesn't do it for you. Sometimes with wands, I do feel that there may be something outside of you, like a career offer, but sometimes it could be hearing from someone who's making you an offer that's something that you can do for yourself. Maybe you're branching out. Maybe you can be a consultant. Whatever it is, you may feel reluctant because you are a very loyal kind of a person. It's interesting in terms of any romantic relationships because the outcome is the Temperance card, and the Temperance card is connected to Sagittarius. So when we had the fire with the wands, maybe it was a Sagittarian person who is involved with you. But in terms of what the Temperance card represents overall, you see the person has 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on land. So it's all about balance between the spiritual and the material. And whenever somebody neglects one side of things, they tend to make a mistake. And with Leo, I would say that more often than not, you go for the material side of things. I had made a comment in an earlier video that I felt that Leo wasn't necessarily that mystical, and I did get people saying that was false. And so I stand corrected, and I actually do know that there are spiritual teachers who are Leos for sure, and astrologers and things like that. But Leo is a sign that is associated with the sun, and the sun is our aspirations in this incarnation. So a lot of times with the sun, we're talking about the self and the ego, but in a worldly sense, because it's part of this world. The sun, if you look at the physical sun, it's part of this world, and it's how we shine in the world. And when things get a little bit murky, it becomes more of self-aggrandizement instead of helping other people through shining our light. And so then it becomes ostentatiousness, showing off either your talents or your wealth and things like that. And it becomes that trying to just trying to be the center of other people's universe through being so fabulous, instead of just shining your light. Shining your light means inspiring other people through your talents, but not in order to outshine other people. And so that's why the Temperance card is all about honoring the spiritual side, as well as taking care of the physical side and honoring that as well. And in terms of love, the practical as well as the spiritual. Who can bring a good influence to you in every sense? A person who is an attractive partner to you, somebody that you feel physically attracted to, but who does not nourish your soul, ultimately will not be the person who is the most well-rounded. So the land or the earth, that represents the physical passion, or Mars, and Venus is represented by the spiritual dimension. So Venus and Mars have to be in balance. And so you may find, or you may choose that person, and the same thing with any kind of career matters. That which kind of nourishes you both physically in terms of being a job where you can get what you're worth, as well as being able to serve others the best with a job that utilizes your talents the best. Sometimes people have to create their own jobs in order to make that happen, but however it happens, I think that you're going to end up with a nice balance, Leo, and that's great. And so now I'm going to pick a card from the Oracle deck. Oh my gosh, I've been having some great synchronicity with this card. I picked 28, Victory. And that's what the Chariot represents too. So let's see. I do see some correlation sometimes with these cards in the Tarot. So it could be that this is supposed to be like the Chariot. And interestingly, okay, let me just read it and I'll say something else. This card shows a beautiful spirit holding a golden victory wreath in acknowledgement of your achievement. Success is on its way, and you have a sense of pride in what you've worked to accomplish. I'm going to set this down so I can read this better. The achievement may be a great outer success, or it may be a deep inner change that you've been exerting a lot of effort toward. Enjoy the sense of accomplishment, but be careful not to rest upon your laurels. People expect outer triumph to bring great changes, but often there may still be inner work to do. Let yourself be open to victory on every level now. Okay. Well, it's interesting. That sounds to me more like the Six of Wands in the Tarot. And I always associate that card with Leo. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be. I think it is. But yeah, you know, so you may have some kind of victory, and maybe it is some kind of a career advancement. But I do feel that whatever is happening, you still have to overcome any kind of resistance. Maybe that's what the Nine of Swords is all about. Maybe you're kind of not honoring your success for some reason, and you have to really believe that you deserve it. So Leo, I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below this video. Otherwise, have a great rest of May. Bye.